So we are going live from Re+active. It's the Julie and Chelsea show. This is an extra fun live because we're going to be talking about some of our favorite equipment or devices or supports that we might use for a person with FND. And here's the take-home message. Equipment is okay. Equipment actually is needed. There's a myth out there that if you have a functional neurologic disorder, you shouldn't use equipment. You shouldn't use supports. You shouldn't use devices. And it is just unfounded. It's a myth. And we really want to just quash that myth right here. I shared a story earlier today that there was a kiddo we were working with who was in the hospital, could not walk. They sent him home without a wheelchair, and he had to scoot on his bottom all over his house, which was totally ridiculous and detrimental. And you would never do that for any other neurologic disorder, and you shouldn't do that for FND. So that's the main take home. But then we wanted to show you there are so many things that are helpful for people. And since we're at the clinic today, we get to do that. So let's start, because this is one of our favorites, maybe, yes, right?
Probably is a fan favorite. So this is called the body braid. It was initially developed for people with hypermobility spectrum disorder and Ehlers-Danlos disorder. So it's this like really cool, stretchy piece of equipment that you can wrap around your body in all these cool ways. And I was just telling Julie, I had a patient yesterday who got this, and we had to put this on virtually on telehealth. And let me tell you, that was fun. But it creates kind of a support system around the pelvis and trunk. And it can be really helpful for people who have impaired proprioception, people who don't know where their legs are in space, don't have feeling in their legs. So really, really helpful for people with functional neurological disorder. So this is the body braid. We are not paid by the body braid. We just love it.
We just love it. And it was actually developed by a person with EDS. So I love that too. Which, by the way, this is another reason the whole myth of no devices is just needs to go in the trash, because people with FND have other things.
Yeah.
And hypermobility disorders are one of them. Postural orthostatic tachycardic syndrome, or POTS, is another. And this is like the most basic piece of support, but also so helpful.
So this is a basic abdominal binder. So this can be really helpful for creating intra-abdominal pressure, so that when you're sitting, for example, you have enough pressure in your abdomen so that when you go to stand up, blood doesn't just drop down. And people who have some dysautonomia can have difficulty regulating their heart rate and blood pressure when they change positions. So this can be a really easy and powerful tool to help them with daily activities. We also have compression socks here.
These are my favorite.
As another resource that can do similar, like create some pressure from the feet to reduce some blood pooling in the feet.
And these both too, by the way, this is not medical advice. So don't go out and buy all of the things, because it may be that this is contraindicated for you. Right. Not for a lot of people, but it could be for you. But both of these, also the compression provides proprioceptive input. Yeah. So if you have impaired proprioception due to a neurologic disorder, or maybe just the way you're wired, or maybe due to hypermobility, the compression socks, a binder, can be really helpful.
And these are things you could go to your physical therapist or occupational therapist and say, do you think this would be indicated for me? I think that'd be a great discussion to start with your healthcare providers. These are some weighted pieces of equipment. So this is a weighted vest, which is so snazzy.
You are such a good model right now.
I should do a runway walk. This is a weighted neck pillow, so similar kind of concept, like axial, which is our axial skeleton, loading, so input at the axial skeleton. So again, proprioception can help with knowing where you are in space, can be really grounding and regulating for the nervous system too. This one did have lavender scent on it, but it has been worn, so it doesn't smell as much lavender anymore. But yeah, weighting can be another really great tool for individuals with functional neurological disorder, especially if there's like dizziness or difficulty with, sustaining an upright posture.
Yeah. And it's sometimes people ask, like, well, does that mean I need to wear it all of the time? No. So some of these things can be supportive. You need it on a bad day, or the weather changed, or you didn't get as much sleep, or what have you. Or some of these things, especially like the weighting, actually start to train the nervous system, and then you don't need it as much.
Yeah,
so,
and you can decrease the weight over time because your nervous system learns where you are in space.
Oh my gosh, Dana said we're ready for the runway walk. Okay, we're going to runway walk a few more things. You've got just a simple knee, like compressive knee. Sleeve.
We love ACE wraps here at Reactive too, because you can create compression wherever if you have an ACE wrap. These have little Velcro attachments to them, but again, same concept as the abdominal binder and the body braid, just another way of giving sensory and proprioceptive input. That joint compression can be really powerful.
And for the person with hypermobility or other injuries, having some supported braces around the hand and wrist, so a simple wrist brace or a custom one if needed. And then I personally wore these little rings for a while. This is a whole slew of them on different sizes, but they can help if you're hyperextending through your fingers and give you support. And I dislocated my finger swinging from a rope swing, and I used one of these for a really long time. One of the misconceptions is that wearing something might make you weak. And somebody even said to me, I have kinesio tape, and someone said it will make me weak if I wear it. It's not how kinesio tape works. It doesn't make you weak. And in fact, it might actually help you move so that you can be stronger. Yeah. So that's the case with most types of bracing. They're temporary, or you wear them for a short time. They're not going to make you weaker. They might make you hot. That's probably the biggest thing that we hear. Right. People wearing things. It's hard on a temperature regulation, so you don't end up wanting to wear them a lot. But the bottom line is, if they allow you independence and to move and to participate in what you want to in life, you absolutely shouldn't be afraid of using them.
Yeah. And like something as simple as a little air cast for your ankle could be enough to give your ankle a little stability so that you can tolerate graded exposure to standing longer, right? So I totally agree. I think devices provide people with an opportunity to restore their agency and control over their life. So it can be a really powerful tool to support people. And, it also is individual. So each individual can grade it the way that they need in their life. So it can be a really powerful piece of independence.
Yeah. And someone is asking here, how would this work for seizures? So again, this would be person specific, but some of the things we know about functional seizures is that people may have underlying sensory or autonomic components, and some of the compression pieces, like for example, if you had a seizure induced by episode of POTS, for example, your heart rate is racing, it triggers a functional seizure. If you manage the POTS, you might decrease your frequency of seizures. That's just an example. That's not everybody.
Right. Same with sensory. Like we have a client who, has impaired sensory processing on the right side of her body, and we're training that. And as we've been training that to get a little bit better through some, increased input, mirror therapy, some other trainings, her seizures have reduced. Now, even in her seizures, she can actually benefit from some of these devices. And she's helped us decide through like a seizure protocol what she wants in those seizures to help her kind of get back in her body, right? So another thing that's found in functional seizures is impaired interoception. So not understanding, not being able to interpret, what's going on inside the body, not just sensing the environment, but sensing your internal state. So sensory input can be really helpful for that interoception as well.
Mm-hmm. And let's go on to some of our bigger devices here. So one of my favorite things is the walking poles. So we could do a runway walk with these. So these are great if a person is needing some extra support for balance stability. Sometimes even just one pull very lightly on the ground is enough to give a person support. I also like them for the person who should be incorporating their arms more into activities. So these are great for hiking, for example, because you're getting arm use. I have a person with dystonia right now, and we were talking about using poles because otherwise their arm just kind of stiffens up. Mm-hmm. But if they're using it during an activity, so it's actually like a therapeutic device for that person. But I love a good set of walking poles. Now
we have a little device corner over here.
We do. We have a device corner. This particular, what kind of walker do you use the most, Chelsea?
I like the Life Glider. It's nice because it has a seat for somebody if they need to like rest, but it also has a seat belt, so you can kind of feel supported. So this is nice if somebody needs some additional like pelvic support.
Very small, a much smaller person with.
So this is like considered a rear walker, right? So it like follows Julie from behind, versus like kind of more of the standard walkers are kind of the front facing walkers. Mm-hmm. But again, I think these, if for example your functional neurological disorder gets worse with fatigue, this could be a way of allowing you to build your capacity and reduce fatigue and reduce symptoms. So.
Yeah. And this one, I picked this one particularly. It has a higher seat. Yeah. And so if you're tall, like me, it can be really hard to sit on a low seat and then get back up. But this one has a little higher seat and it's cushioned. If you have some sensory sensitivities, just happens to be this one. But we find that folks are able to do more in their life if they have a device. It's better than not leaving the house. So better to leave the house with the device, has a built-in seat if the person needs it. And here's the thing, people might not use them forever. Mm-hmm. They may just use them on certain days or at certain times. Or they do use them forever, and that's also okay. Yeah. And I mean, I don't know about you, Chelsea. Well, I do know because you were in school where I taught, but like we were kind of taught as physical therapists to like use the least amount of devices possible. Yeah. Right.
And I think that's a very ableist
it is
approach.
Very ableist.
And as we've grown in our own understanding of the world and how to help people with disabilities. Disability is not a bad word, right? There are some individuals who part of their life and living with their disability is using this assistive device, and we can actually support them in living their best life with a device. So it's really person specific. It's really getting to that relationship centered care so that you can support someone in reaching their goals.
Yeah, exactly. So we've had to unlearn a lot of what we learned in school, and that's okay. We're all learning, we're all doing better, and we just want to help people live their lives the fullest way possible. So thank you for joining us in our equipment fashion show. Yeah, we walked the runway.
I don't know if you saw our surfboard over there. Yeah. That could also be a device. Who knows?
It's a device. It's foam, right? It's modified for folks with sensory issues. So. So anyway, thank you for caring about this. Please spread the word. Yeah. By the way, we have I think it's coming tomorrow. We're going to make a big announcement for clinicians is we're going to do another boot camp on FND, and we're going to talk about this, and we're going to problem solve this type of stuff with people. So stay tuned, be on the lookout for that if you're a clinician. But thank you again. I'm going to make sure I didn't miss any other. Oh boy, there's lots of questions here.
Links.
Could we send the links?
Oh, I didn't even know.
So I was going to tell you in our newsletter this week, I'm going to put together links for our commonly used equipment. So sign up for our newsletter. You can go to reactiveeducation.com if you are a clinician, or reactivept.com if you're a patient. I will send that out in our newsletter. So much to learn. Thank you. We're always learning. Yeah. We'll send the link to the vest. And by the way, these are very person specific. Some people need a heavier vest. Some people need a lighter vest. So I wouldn't be able to make a recommendation specific to you, but we'll share the types of ones that you might use, and you can share that with your clinician. Walking sticks with someone with Parkinson's disease. Yeah, so we love using those. Would it be a trip or fall hazard?
It depends on the person.
Yes, work with your physical therapist on this. So we use them a lot here, but I will tell you, it's not helpful for all people. Yeah. So definitely try that out with your physical therapist. That's me. I use your walker. Weak legs. Use it and do your life. Yes. So good. Sarah, read up on interoception. Ooh, there's so many good articles.
We could do another live.
We'll do another live. And actually, Sarah, if you go back a few weeks, I did a live on interoception as well. It's kind of my current obsession. They talked a lot about it at the FNDS conference.
Yeah.
So, okay. I went back. I wanted to make sure I got all your comments. Thank you all again and have a great day. Bye.